In today's vlog, we're going to talk about my house insurance, how we got a renewal quote come through for the company we use with a 48% increase. So we're off for a walk today, aren't we?
We are.
We are. It's January the 10th as I record this, which is the day our house renewal is due today for insurance, house insurance. So it seems a good day to film it. We thought we'd come for a walk and we're home for a few weeks before we head off again. Getting all our medical stuff done. If you've been following our vlogs, you know that. But here we're talking about house insurance here. We got back on the last vlog you saw was our road trip when we went to see Chloe, which was a week ago we got back, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a week ago.
So that was January the 2nd, and when we got back I had a quote from Geico, who's our home insurance company, for a renewal. And we've paid for the last 2 years. We've told you before our cost of living expenses here in Florida. And by the way, anything isn't, you know, this is like first world problem. We brought this on ourselves by living here because we knew it was expensive. But our costs for the last 2 years have been about $2,600 a year for insurance for home and contents, and that hasn't changed. Now we're with Progressive, but we're with Geico, but not really because they won't insure in Florida. They use a third-party company. Yeah, so they use travelers insurance, but we haven't had a claim with them. It's been $2,600 for the last 2 years. We did go up $50 when we had the swimming pool put in, didn't it?
A little bit on it.
But yeah, I got back on the 2nd. I got an email from them, and they basically said, "Yeah, here's your renewal for next year, $4,000." That's a 48% increase from $2,700 to $4,000, and I nearly fell through the floor.
It's crazy.
I'm just thinking that on this path we're walking, this house has just doubled inside. They basically built it. Double, haven't they? Extended it, gone up a floor, put all this in. I wonder how much their house insurance is. We're talking about this. But yeah, so I went up to 4,000 when I nearly fell through the floor and thought, okay, we've got to do something about this. And this is probably an update for you because you haven't seen me much this week. So I've been on the phone trying to sort things out. So I immediately jumped on the phone, started ringing some companies. I'll share with you my experience. But what I found is really prices have just gone crazy in Florida at the moment. And a lot of you may know this.
Crazier than normal.
Crazier than normal. And actually some of the people I've been talking to moved here from the south of Florida, and they moved to Orlando because the insurance prices are half the price they are in the south of Florida. They're paying half what they were paying down there, and now they live in Kissimmee. So learned a lot this week about the craziness of living in Florida. So I did contact Geico and said, hey, why have you put the price up so much? Because I couldn't see anything different in the policy. And when I spoke to the lady on the phone, she was like, oh yeah, well, the reason is we've reevaluated the value of your house and it's now worth $750,000. I said, what? It's like last year we were insured for $500,000. Most of the other quotes I've been getting around $500, $550, and they're coming in at $750,000. I'm like, what planet are you on? So yeah, we had that conversation with them, and she said, no, nothing I can do, that's in the system, that's what your house is valued at. So I'm like, well, what do we do? She says, well, I'll look for other agents who can cover you that we have. And then in 10 seconds she came back and said, nope, nobody else is covering this area, that's it, take it or leave it. So what did we do?
We left it.
We left it. So I started ringing around, and I soon discovered, there's very few companies now covering insurance in Florida, and those that aren't covering it themselves. They're using these smaller agencies and pushing you off, I guess, to reduce the risk to smaller companies to get it done. So I rang a few who just, weren't interested, and they pushed me to a company called KIN, K-I-N. Got a quote from them, and they came back at $4,000. So by now I was starting to panic. I'm like, well, we're on, we planned our retirement budget and everything around, increases, small increases, but not 50% increase in 1 year. So I got on the phone, started making a few calls, and then went after some of the big companies. I thought, some of the big ones. Our car insurance is with Progressive, that's why Progressive came up. So I contacted Progressive, and they put me through, they wouldn't give me a quote. They said, no, we do it through True. So True is the company that gave us a quote there. Sorry for jumping off again, but this house here, when we had the hurricane, and we're going to come back to the hurricane, that's a big reason for it. They never had a path here, did they? It was all grass.
No, it was just grass.
And they couldn't get the cars out for about a month. And now that's a very, very fancy. I don't think how much. Tell me what you think that would be. Beautiful. It costs a lot.
Beautiful.
They go from zero to a 5-star drive. By the way, there's a big lake there, so these houses were past. How much are these houses?
These are multi-million-dollar.
Yeah, outside our price bracket.
About 2.5.
Yeah, be outside our price bracket and our insurance bracket.
Yeah.
So yeah, Progressive and True was the company. So they came back with a quote. And what I noticed with a lot of these companies, they give me a quote, but they wouldn't give you a quote. They give you a number and then say call us. And every time I rang them, it was always $200 or $300 more.
Yeah.
Because they walk you through and add this on and that on, asking all these questions about wind mitigation and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, they came back at 3.6. So it was a bit cheaper. Still too much money, but 3.6. So that was True. And then I rang a few, I said, AARP, you know, like we're old fogies now, we're over 50.
Fogies, yeah.
So AARP, which is the insurance for older people, had this thing with the Hartford. So I go with them. So I went to the AARP, because we pay for them anyway. And I kept going on the website and just came up with this error message all the time. This, doesn't exist. So I did some more research. Went back quite a few times, then found a map of all the states that they cover, and I'll put that up here on the screen. See if you can spot which state is not actually covered in there.
Probably.
Florida, yeah. Cover all the states, but they're not taking any insurance in Florida. Neither is State Farm. State Farm is not writing any policies in Florida. So this was getting a bit crazy now. Contacting all these companies, I'm sort of scratching my head, where do I go?
Yeah.
I tried Allstate as well, but Allstate don't insure you. They go through a firm called First Security. So I got a quote from them. They went down to 3.2, but I haven't called them yet to have a chat, so that probably will go up as well. So, but the interesting thing is all these other policies were valuing our house at $540,000, not $750,000. Somebody's cutting the grass out there, it smells of fresh grass. We should have said as well, today we're in a cold spot here, and it's been quite cold in Florida. It's been freezing. We're still in us fleeces and our jeans, but today's the first day we've been out without coats on, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And a couple of nights ago we were out at the Polynesian with some friends on the beach watching the fireworks. It was freezing.
Freezing
with
cold.
coats. And literally it's been like -1, 0, which depending where you live might not sound a lot, but for Florida,
that's really
cool.
cold.
I think today, this weekend, it's getting up to the 70s again, and then it's back down to the 50s next week. So we're just enjoying this. Another reason for getting out is we're enjoying this nice weather as well. Anyway, back to the quote. So yeah, $550. Now, a few of you might be saying, well, you had all that work done on your house, Barry. You know, you had the pool in and you had it all renovated, and that's probably why the value of a house has gone up. Well, no.
No.
But I will share with you, we did get the house part of the inspection was they came out because they want more tax offers to see the value of the house, and I'll put it up here in a second. When we bought our house 4 years ago, 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Yeah, it was valued at $380, which is what we paid for it. And then they came out when we had the pool finished and valued it again, and their valuation came in, I'll show you here on the sheet, at $545,000.
Yeah.
And that's about right. And that isn't the value of selling, that's the value of replacing, rebuilding. You know, it's probably worth 600 plus if you sell it.
Yeah.
But they value the building work for replacing it, don't they?
Yeah.
So that ties back to these quotes that were all coming back about $550. So I spoke to some other insurance people. Why were Geico saying $750? And what I heard is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, they say like these companies blow hot and cold. They'll decide some months, some quarters they want to take on more risk. They'll decide some quarters they want to offload the risk, and sometimes they just price it to make it so sour that people will
just not
stay with them. You know, just deliberately offload people. That might be true or not true, let me know what you think. But yeah, so we're still looking at all these crazy prices. And in the end, I went with an independent who looks at some of these smaller companies. I'm like, okay, so if we're going to have to go with a smaller company anyway, let me get somebody who can look through all these smaller companies rather than the big ones just bounce me down to a smaller company. And so, you know, and time was ticking. You know, we only had a week. Which I guess was my fault. It wasn't in the calendar, but we never had an issue before. Oh, well, actually less than a week, because it was a weekend, and a lot of these smaller companies don't work at the weekend. Yeah. You know, I got a quote on a Friday, and then they were shut Saturday and Sunday for me to call back and get more info from them. So I got a quote for 3.6, a quote for 3.2, but I hadn't rung them up, so that would probably go up. 3 quotes for 4. And now, you know, like I say, it was getting crazy. Anyhow, I got hold of a friend we met through YouTube, actually, one of our subscribers, and he is an independent, and he went and got me a load of prices from all these different companies, and I'll put them up here on the screen. And basically they range from 2,900 up to 8 grand, depending on who you go with. So I'm in a big range, and they're all independent companies. I didn't really know who they were, but I relied on his knowledge of these companies to help us kind of filter down and go through them. And obviously I went to the cheaper end, as you would do.
As you start with, yeah.
Yeah, cheapest not always best. So I looked at reviews of some of these companies and saw which ones, we might want to go with, might not want to go with. And we got it down to this company called Olympus. And again, I haven't spoken to any of these, so I'm expecting the prices to go up from here. Now, we're about 2 days out. This was like this Monday or Tuesday this week. And I'm like, yeah, let's get a quote from these guys. They won't even sort of really give you a quote unless you have something which I've never heard of before, called a 4-point inspection. You never heard of it, I never heard of it. And what a 4-point inspection is, it's something that they do in Florida here, and it's usually for homes that are 30 years or older. But what I was hearing in the marketplace is they're going to start insisting on it for homes that are 20 years or older as well, and ours is 19 years. And the reason companies do this is they want to reduce the risk, because what a 4-point inspection is, you have to pay, and the price is around $140, $150 for an inspector to come and check 4 things: the roof, the electrical, the plumbing, and the AC system, and actually the hot water heater as well, which is part of that. So what they're trying to do is cherry pick the best clients.
Yeah. The least risk.
The least risk clients, and put them in. And there's no way this company would actually insure us, but it was like, this was 3 days ago, like how the heck am I going to get somebody in to do this inspection and get it back to them and get it all done by today? But this inspector, when I spoke to a couple of these inspectors, and by the way, this, on the online, they're like, $95, and you ring them up, yeah, it's $145.
Yeah, typical.
So it was all like, click, not what you call switch and bait, get you in bait and switch, get you in there. So when I spoke to them, most of them were like doing them at 7 a.m. in the morning or 5 p.m. in the afternoon, which told me and the insurance people I talked to sort of said, yeah, they kind of do this as a side hustle,
right,
because they're a quick thing. They come in, they take a lot of photos, send them to the company, and then they will decide if they're going to insure you or not. They also, as your roof gets older, you have to pay for a wind mitigation inspection to check your roof is still up to standards. Apart from the fact you've got to have your roof replaced every 15 years here, or they won't insure you at all. Unless, I guess, you pay for a wind mitigation every year, which is a lot more expensive as well. So we managed to get hold of a company who came, was it only yesterday? Yesterday morning. Yeah, because we're running around, we've only got a few weeks here before we're off again. So we're getting, my medical problems, getting them sorted, you're getting your medicals done. I was getting my vision eye check, my annual eye check yesterday, and we're trying to sort all this out on the phone while we're going. So yeah, it was a bit of fun. So he came round 7 a.m. yesterday morning.
7:30 was it?
Yeah, in the morning. And this guy was very thorough. I mean, I thought they'd just like walk around, have a look at things. I put up some pictures here he took, but he was on the roof, walked on the roof. He came in the house, he turned on every tap, he flushed every toilet.
Yep.
He went under every sink and took pictures under every sink. And I'm like, okay, well, glad you were up.
Yeah, I'm glad I was up.
You got up, didn't you?
I got up about 20 minutes before. I'm like, it's a good job I am up.
I mean, I thought they'd just like go and check the main pipes coming in and everything. And they sent us a detailed report, cost me $145, which I don't get back. Now, these reports apparently last for 3 years, because he said, when I was speaking to our insurance company, he said, if you had one done, or you've had one from the last 3 years, they will accept it.
Right.
So it's every 3 years you have to have these done. And actually, if you stay with your same insurance provider, you're probably okay. It's usually when you swap, and they want to reduce risk, or as you say, cherry pick the best customers to come in. So we had that done, sent that off, and then they could give us a final quote yesterday afternoon. So we sent that off yesterday, 2 p.m. When I got back from the vision check. Got it all sorted. Of course, then they wouldn't accept credit cards to pay for it. It's 3% increase if you're going to pay on a credit card. So you've got to give them all your bank details and do a bank transfer and all that stuff. But actually, at the end of the day, we ended up paying for the renewal $2,914, based on the house being $545,000. And that got sorted. So that's about an 8% increase on last year. Better than 48%.
48.
But in general, what I'm hearing in the marketplace is, after we had the hurricane last year,
well, we had 2 hurricanes last year.
All the companies have raised the prices.
Yeah.
And a lot have pulled out the market. and now you just can't get any of the big companies, and you're really down to these smaller ones who are being more picky. Now, we were lucky, of course, because you've been through our renovations with us, and what we've had a new roof.
Everything.
Roof's only 2 years old, water heater's a year old, AC's a year old.
Yeah.
So we knew we weren't going to fail on any of that, but it's still more money.
Yep.
You got to pay out every time on top of your insurance. And by the way, none of this covers flooding. If you want flood insurance, you're still to pay more. So I mean, it does cover if you get a burst pipe.
Yeah.
And that leaks in the house. But if you have a hurricane and water comes in, doesn't cover that. That's typically another couple of $100, well, $400 to cover that. I think if I'd taken flood insurance out on this, it would have taken me to 3-1, so probably $200.
Well, that's why in Florida, when you're buying a house, it always tells you if you're in a flood zone or not. Because then you know your insurance is going to go up as well.
And we're not, but apparently all insurers now have by law to advise you that you should be getting it. And if there's a problem, they're not in trouble from it. So it was a bit of a stressful week. We also had other problems that we'll show you in the next vlog, which is we had the water leak outside on the water softener. Trying to get that sorted over the weekend and get somebody in.
Had all medical
and medical stuff.
Appointments and going on.
So it was been a very stressful week. But in general, like I say, the market in Florida is pretty intense. And we're not even talking about condos. Condos have gone crazy as well, because if you're in a condo, they're all asking for these fees now, these bonds that people have to pay to cover the risk. So some of these people in condos are being sort of charged 10, 15 grand to put into a kitty each in case there's a major problem. And so Florida is a crazy place to live. Orlando is probably better than a lot, like I say, because we're probably cheaper because we're inland,
probably
in the centre, not by the coast. We're not in any flooding. And then don't get me started on car insurance, because I'm just going through that at the moment. I don't know how much you pay for car insurance, but here
it's very expensive.
Yeah, we're paying about $2,000 a year for one car for car insurance. I know I was speaking to Ryan in the UK, and he made him feel better about his paying. That's as old fogies with all the no claims, and in your name, because your females get a cheaper rate than the males. Though they've never seen you drive, have they?
Better drivers, what can I say?
They can never catch you to see how good a driver you are. So there we are. That is the, again, it is what it is. We're paid, we want to live here in this tropical climate, and you do pay for it.
You do pay for it.
In different ways, but that's absolutely crazy, 48% increase. And you let me know. All I can think of is they want to offload people.
Yeah, they don't want to insure you. Basically.
Well, obviously not, but based on the number of lack of companies.
Yeah, they just...
And I say half of them I Googled said, but when she went on, they weren't there doing it.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot have pulled out the market now, so to speak. So there you are. If you're in Orlando or Florida, you tell me, let us know in your comments your experience of insurance companies, your tips and tricks for getting cheaper insurance, because I think we've tried everything. And if you do need some help, I can give you the name of my person I use. Again, they're an independent. They just went to the independent companies, not one of the big ones. But I also found a lot of these say bundle your home and car insurance. Made no difference.
No difference whatsoever.
And then those, it didn't really save me any money, though that might be working for you. It did used to work in Virginia. In Virginia, I think we paid about $1,000 for our house insurance for a year, didn't we?
Yeah.
I know that's 5 years ago, but it was about $1,000. And we had a big house there, as you know, and a couple of acres of land and everything.
I think even the last few years, when we've been bundling, it's been cheaper. It has been cheaper, not by a lot, but it has been cheaper.
Yeah.
But it's like I guess they just don't want to... It's too much risk in Florida now.
Yeah. Yeah, insurance companies, to me, they should be sort of spreading the risk. They make money on places that are low risk, and they've got to balance that with places that are high risk. Even Max is getting warm. She's taking a fleece off now, aren't you? Yeah. Just warming up. It's getting up to 70 today. So the other thing, insurers, let me know what the term is. A number of these companies are either secondary or auxiliary, I forget the name, but basically what it means is they're not based in Florida and they don't have to comply with Florida laws. Kin is one of them, and Citizens is another. Citizens kind of are your last attempt if you can't get anybody else. Citizens you go to, but you have to prove that you can't get insurance from any others for them to even think about taking you on board. So there's a few challenges with that as well. So there we go. That's been our experience for the last week, and what we've learnt about these secondary companies, about the big companies not doing anything, and lots of phone calls. And don't believe a quote until you've spoken to them.
No, you've got to speak to somebody.
And then they may ask you again to do these 4-point inspections, which we weren't planning to do either, along those lines. But as you can see, Prices range a lot. The only things you can get on top of the base price is flood insurance and sinkhole insurance. It used to be included.
Yeah.
We used to have sinkhole insurance, and that's gone away
anymore.
now. So we don't have that anymore. So yeah, it's a bit of a crazy market here, but I guess, like we say, the price you pay for living here.
Living in paradise.
Yeah, well, paradise sometimes, isn't it?
Well, it's paradise until you have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So on that note, we will wrap up here. We're going to go back to the house. We've got a few more projects to work on, and we have our next home renovation starting. We're going to start that tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
And we'll talk about that in a future blog. But thanks for watching. I hope this was at least educational to you about some of the challenges of living in Florida. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe. Put your comments below, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.